We tend to think of our world as just a series of random, chaotic events. But what if there's a hidden rule book? Today, we're going to dig into the ideas of mathematician Kit Yates and explore the incredible mathematics of the unexpected. And we're going to see that even chaos has a pattern. All right, let's kick things off with a big question that's really at the heart of all this. Is life just one unpredictable thing after another? Or is there some underlying order we just can't quite see? Well, as we're about to find out, the answer is a really fascinating mix of both. So, where do we even begin? Well, the first hurdle we've got to clear is actually inside our own heads. It turns out our brains are often the least reliable tool we have for understanding randomness and probability. I mean, we are amazing pattern matching machines. It's like an evolutionary superpower, right? But that exact same strength becomes a huge weakness when we're faced with something that's genuinely random. We start seeing patterns that aren't there, and we even create patterns when we're trying our best to be random. Okay, this slide is just perfect. It totally exposes our weird biases when it comes to chance. Think about the lottery. For some reason, we think a sequence like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is somehow less random than a bunch of scattered numbers. But here's the kicker. Mathematically, every single combination has the exact same chance of winning. By trying to look random, we end up creating these predictable habits, like never picking numbers on the edge of the ticket or making sure they're all nicely spaced out. This is our brain's faulty intuition on full display. So, if our gut feelings are so off, what are we supposed to rely on? Well, the answer is math. It lets us pull back the curtain on all that chaos and see the beautiful hidden patterns that are running the show just beneath the surface. Okay, I know this sounds like the setup to a really weird joke, but stick with me. The answer is a stunningly elegant mathematical law that's being used every single day by people like forensic accountants, economists, and even election monitors. And boom, here it is, Benford's Law. Now, you gotta admit, this idea is completely wild. You'd think that the first digit of a bunch of numbers, like say from a company's expense reports, would have an equal shot of being a 1, a 5, or a 9. But that's not what happens in the real world, not even close. And check this out. This chart just nails it. This isn't some dusty old theory. This is real-world data. When you plot the first digits from over 1 million business addresses in London, you get this perfect downward slope. The number 1 shows up as the first digit 30% of the time. That's the hidden pattern. And it's so reliable that if a company's financial data doesn't follow this curve, it's a massive red flag for fraud. But wait, it gets even cooler. Benford's Law isn't just a one-off party trick. It's actually our first peek into a much bigger family of mathematical relationships called power laws. And once you know what you're looking for, you start seeing them absolutely everywhere. I mean, just take a look at this list. It's kind of mind-blowing. From the words we use most often, to the size of our cities, even the power of earthquakes, they all follow this same basic pattern. A few things are super common or really big, and a whole lot of things are rare or small. This is like the hidden architecture of our world. All right, so we've seen these hidden patterns are everywhere. The big question is, what do we do with that knowledge? How do we use it to make better decisions? We need to give our mental toolkit a serious upgrade to get past our flawed intuitions. Let's bring this down to earth with a simple and delicious example. We all like to think we can spot a good deal when we see one, but there's a common mental shortcut that trips us up all the time. So you look at this, and your brain just goes, yeah, that makes sense. Seems fair. The price goes up as the pizza gets wider. A few more inches for a few more dollars. It feels like a simple straight line. And right there, that's the trap. Our brains are obsessed with simple, straight lines. It's a powerful linearity bias, but the real world, especially when you're talking about things like area or volume, almost never works that way. See, here's the thing our brain forgets. You're not paying for diameter, you're paying for area. And area grows with the square of the radius. So when you actually do the math and look at the price per square inch, the truth just pops right out. That 18-inch pizza isn't just a slightly better deal, it's almost twice the value of the small one. So the life hack here is pretty simple. Always, always buy the biggest pizza. You're welcome. The whole pizza thing is fun, yeah? But it points to a much bigger problem. Our first guesses, our intuitions, are often just plain wrong. We need a systematic way to adjust our thinking as new evidence rolls in. Well, there's a powerful tool for that, and it's called Bayesian updating. You can think of it as the mathematics of learning. It's basically a formal process for combining what you already think with new evidence to come up with a new, better belief. In a world that's just overflowing with information, it's one of the most important thinking tools you can have. This is such a great way to see how it works in practice. So imagine you start with a strong but totally wrong belief. That's that big hump on the left. Now, a little bit of new evidence comes in, but it barely moves the needle. Our biases are sticky. But then, as more and more evidence piles up, it slowly but surely drags your belief toward the truth, until finally, your initial bias is completely gone, and your belief actually matches reality. It's a formal process for changing your mind.
Okay, so we've got these cool tools to spot hidden patterns, and we have a way to update our beliefs. We're starting to get a handle on uncertainty. So does this mean everything is predictable now? Well, not so fast.
Because there's one last, really important piece to this puzzle. Even in a world that's governed by mathematical rules, some things stay fundamentally, stubbornly unpredictable. Just look at this thing, the double pendulum. It follows the exact deterministic laws of physics. There's no randomness in its code. But watch what happens. You start two of them in positions that are so close they're practically identical, and just 25 seconds later, they're in wildly different places. It's just a tiny, microscopic difference in where they start leads to this huge, completely unpredictable difference in where they end up.
And this, of course, is the famous butterfly effect. It was first figured out by a guy named Edward Lorenz when he was trying to model the weather. It means that for some systems, like the atmosphere or that pendulum, perfect long-term prediction isn't just hard, it's literally impossible. The system is just way too sensitive.
And that really brings us to the core message of all this. The goal isn't to become some perfect fortune teller. It's about understanding that there are different flavors of randomness. Some things, like Benford's law, are beautifully predictable if you look at the big picture. Others, like the weather next month, are fundamentally chaotic. True wisdom is about knowing which is which. So I'm going to leave you with a question to chew on. The next time you see the stock market jump, or you get stuck in a traffic jam, or even when you're deciding on a pizza, will you just see it as another random event, or will you maybe look a little closer for the hidden math that might be at play?